Laverne Planning Commission public hearing, January 25th, 2011. Order of business is going to be Planning Commission Resolution 2011-01, a resolution to amend Article 1 of the Laverne subdivision regulation regarding easements. Is there anyone here from the public wish to speak? Then we adjourn. A quorum has properly been determined. Ask for approval of minutes from December 28th, 2010.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Motion has been made to accept the minutes as submitted. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All approve?
Aye.
Motion carries. Going to start with the old business. We have a final plat, Lakewood Phase 7, Lakewood Phase 7, 2 lots, 8.36 acres, property located at intersection of Stone River Road and Hallandale Road, tax map 6, parcel 16, and 23-01, R2 zoning district, property owned by Adnan Shribman and Tal Shribman. Mr. Green?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is an item that was on last month's agenda. They are doing some significant rework into the plat. It's going to be much smaller in scale and I think only involving 1 lot. So they're just requesting to defer this again another month just to address some of these changes.
Okay, we have a deferral. Site plan Lake Forest Supermarket, property located at 410 Dick Buchanan Street, tax map 140, Group A, parcel 14, I-1 zoning district, property owned by Andrew Welsnick. Mr. Green?
Yes, sir. This item is we've got some items that are shown on the reports. However, what we have had is a recent resubmittal of this plat or of the site plan today, and they have addressed the last few comments that we had remaining, which were mainly the landscaping and the other item would be what they have put on the note that it was discussed at the Board of Zoning Appeals regarding the parking and striping and everything in the rear of the lot.
Any comments from the members?
So Mr. Green, just my question is, so the car park space they have more than they need?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
Understanding that presently Mr. Welsnick owns both properties, again going on the south entrance, if one of the properties sells, we only have a 13.35 entrance, and that is obviously against our regulations. If they lose that one car parking space to gain additional 9 feet, do they still meet the parking requirements?
Yes, sir. And the shrub as well, they could lose both of those, and that would still provide for a wider access, particularly if there was redevelopment on the south property in the future.
On the enter only and the exit only, are they going to put signs up on the building to show that, or only mark it onto the pavement?
Currently, what they're proposing is just to mark it on the pavement. However, if it's something that you all feel signs should be added, that could be a contingency.
Item 3 on your notes, you're about striped area for docking. Are they proposing it as it's listed here on the 24th revision of the drawing? And on the rear of the property.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite.
On the rear of the property, they've got the striping. Is that how they are going to finally do the striping? In other words, the access for the employees at the back, is the striping, as I submitted, is that correct?
Well, what they're showing is the passenger parking spaces striped out currently. What we had maybe suggested would be a good idea would be to actually stripe the areas where the dock doors are located, and as well as the entrance and exit doors in the rear. So currently, there's nothing that really we have that's a requirement that keeps them from doing this. However, it would be a good idea to have that be done.
The applicant here, could you just mind stand up, just see if he wants to answer some of these questions? Representative?
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm Steve Steele with Huddleston Steel Engineering, representing the applicant. Be glad to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Steele, we understand you just answered the questions at the last meeting. We have to have it on this agenda.
Be glad to. There was discussion about the rear entries to the building. There are 3 dock doors, overhead doors for truck deliveries, and there are 3 pedestrian or man doors. And it was suggested at the previous meeting that we stripe in front of those to prohibit cars or trucks from parking and potentially blocking access to the building. And we'll be glad to do that. That's no problem whatsoever. As was mentioned in the previous meeting, we have more than adequate parking on the site. We were just trying to maintain as many spaces as we could, but we'll be glad to do that striping. There was a question a minute ago about the southerly entrance. If it pleases the commission, if you would prefer us to widen that entrance, we could do that. Again, it would just mean the loss of 1 space out front. But if that is a concern, that's something we can do.
And did you want to address the board members, brought up the dual ownership of the 2 spaces in case someone decides to sell? What would be your contingencies?
Well, what we could do very easily is when these people, if they purchase it, we could ask for and receive a reciprocal easement, an easement that would allow access by both parties, and that could be done by document or could be added to the plat as a plat amendment. We could do that. At this time, the applicant is just proposing to lease. There's a possibility it might be bought, but we don't know that for a fact. But we could make the request that we receive a reciprocal easement that would protect that southerly entry. But if that didn't happen, I think the applicant stand ready to widen that entry.
Mr. Green, is that acceptable?
One thing I'd like to caution the board on is you would not like to widen it too much, because you don't want too wide of a driveway entrance, because for one, you wouldn't be able to line up to it across the street if you was trying to line up a smaller driveway with it. And the other thing is to look at is, I know it is a one-way circulation around the building, however, it is a 36, they already have a 36-foot wide driveway entrance to the north of that, so they do have one entrance already. And then the other issue is like I'm talking about is you don't want to get into a situation to make this too wide, and we do have a 40-foot width requirement. That's a max, and he's already at 35, so you'd only really gain 5 feet roughly. And one thing to look at is like Mr. Steele is talking about is right now it's one owner, and once this sells, they can make that, which we wouldn't have no enforcement on, but they can make that a contingency on the sale, and put it in their documents and deed documents as an access easement, and get that worked out as a joint use access to where it stays like it is currently.
Any other questions of the board? Can I hear a motion?
Understanding what may or may not happen in the future, but I would just like to make the motion to accept, subject to the striping and subject to the loss of the on-car parking space and shrubbery on the south entrance.
Okay, I have a motion with exception partially of item 9, and could you restate that for me, Graham?
So we'll have the striping at the back per the requirements, or the existing parking space will not block the doors and exit doors. Trucks, proposed loading space will not be blocked by passenger cars behind the building. And the southerly entrance, the loss of one car parking space and one shrub to make a wider entrance for the property in case the property does sell.
Do we understand that, members? Okay, on that, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, next we have a recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for acceptance of Woodsong subdivision phases 1, 2, and 3. Mr. Green?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I think Kyle may have some comments on this one, that still in the process of working with some stormwater requirements, I think, and
We still got a few items to work out with the developer, so the punch list is not complete at this time, so we need to defer this item.
Okay. Items deferred. New business. Planning Commission Resolution 2011-01, a resolution to amend Article 1 of the Vergne subdivision regulations regarding easements.
yes, sir. This is a amendment that we had spoken about at the workshop. It would eliminate the future accesses by easement for lots that don't have road access, and that's something that we've discussed in depth, and we had the public hearing on previously.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a recommendation to send a favourable recommendation to the Mayor Alderman for Resolution 2011-01 as submitted.
This is the final approval here.
Is
Does
it?
not go on to-
Then I'll make a motion to accept the resolution as submitted.
Motion is made to accept as submitted. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Or resolution carries, I'm sorry. Final plat, combination of lots 1 and 5, Leroy Wolford subdivision, 6.77 acres, property located at 475 Old Nashville Highway, tax map 181, Group B, partial 3310. C2 zoning district, property owned by Stan Glasgow. Mr. Green?
Yes, sir. This the applicant has requested deferral on this, as well as their site plan submittal.
Items deferred. Site plan, Glasgow Meeting Room, property located at 475 Old Nashville Highway, tax map 181, Group B, partial 33-10, C2 zoning district, property owned by Stan Glasgow. I
Yeah.
take it that's also deferred.
Yes, sir.
Final plat, G and CB Enterprise, 2 lots, property located at 287 Sand Hill Road, tax map 141, Group C, parcel 1.00, C2 zoning district, property owned by G and CB Enterprises.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant had several items to correct, and I think we had discussed it as well as the workshop. He's requested deferral on both the final plat and site plan for this as well.
Okay, that's a deferral. And also number 8, site plan. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that,
Yeah, yes, sir, it's the same
okay,
applicant.
okay. So we got the deferral on 7 and 8. Okay, motion to grant a 1-year preliminary plat extension to Pinnacle Point Phase 2. Mr. Green?
This is the request to extend the preliminary plat approval for Pinnacle Point Phase 2. The applicant was here at the workshop and had discussed this, and basically what they've done is it had already expired once and they had to resubmit, which they resubmitted and showed the sidewalks on both sides of the road as required now. I think they're having some issues with the economy and everything, normal, everyone else is experiencing, and requesting an extension for 1 year.
Chair will make a motion to accept the motion for 1-year preliminary plat extension for Pinnacle Point Phase 2.
Motion to grant the extension. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Bonds and letters of credit update.
Mr. Chairman, everyone should have a copy of the bond sheet in front of them. Everything is up to date. We have a few that'll, or the next one that's coming up, there's none in February, but is the end of March, so I will be contacting the developer and the banks on those, which they're all in Lake Forest.
Are there any questions of the members? Meeting adjourned.